why don't we, somebody have a question, did I hear?
I say it's a little after 7. Maybe it's time we get started.
That's what I was just about to say. So, I would say, Ron and Jim, I'll let you guys, if you have any announcements you all want to make. Ron, you got any announcements you want to make or anything?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
I really don't either. Just welcome everybody. I think it should be a fun meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, and as I've said before, when we all get together, I like it because it's nice to get more varied perspectives on stuff and a little bit of a bigger crew together. So,
It looks like we got 24 people.
um,
One quickie request. Can everybody identify themselves by their own names instead of their computer name?
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure how you do that.
Click on your picture and you'll get a menu within which is rename.
Well, Zoom user is Koki. Everybody else has got a name, I think.
Oh, there's an iPhone in there.
Yeah, she's an iPhone. He's messing with it.
he's trying.
And somebody's named his computer after his home.
Let me see.
Glenn.
Well,
oh, Glenn.
my whole name there, so nobody can complain about that.
I still see iPhone, but Glenn House.
Yeah.
I'm Glenn Tandy, not iPhone. Let me see.
Well,
Hey, Glenn, you start.
All right. By the way, I have been, while I'm thinking about it, because we had such a cool meeting last year around this time, where we had, I don't know if you guys remember our meeting with Dave Hamilton when he did a recap of the Consumer Electronics Show and cool devices. I had been corresponding with him via email trying to get something going. But he hasn't gotten back to me now after I've sent a couple emails in recent weeks. So I'm hoping that, maybe we can get something going with him at some point, because I thought that was a really cool meeting last year. He said the same. He said, oh yeah, that was cool. And, he kind of asked me what I had in mind. And then I replied, and that was about 3 weeks ago. Didn't hear anything. And I followed up and still didn't hear anything. So, I'll still kind of work on that for, maybe upcoming months and see if we can't, get something going with that. So
Dave's been really, really involved in a project that's going on at work for him.
Okay.
But I'll be happy to reach out to him as well.
Okay.
I know him well.
Yeah, I thought that was such a great meeting we had, and in my correspondence, he agreed, and so it'd be fun to do something like that again. All right. Well, I'm going to start here with my monthly goodies. And so let me get this ready to share with you all. And can you all see that?
Yep.
Okay. How many of you knew, by the way, it's Celebration of Chocolate Month?
I'm ashamed to say I didn't.
Well, I think
because it's Valentine's Day.
I think it's a good excuse for anybody who wants to go eat some chocolate, so now you have a good excuse to do so if you needed one.
No, I just had a whole bunch of chocolate for my birthday.
Well, yeah, in my opinion, you can never have too much chocolate. So
yeah, exactly.
You will notice a theme
Texas truffles.
You will notice a theme to my slides here this month. So, and as I was putting my goodies together, I kept Doolittle News kept squirting out about Apple stuff. And I'm like, oh, I better throw that in so I can tell people about it. So I've got a bunch of little things like that I threw in here. So the first one that I think probably by now, because I put this together like almost a month ago, most people have heard about, is that, Apple confirmed that Siri is going to be powered by Google Gemini. And so this, from what I've been reading, it's expected to start being introduced with iOS 26.4, which, we're probably right on the verge of 26.3 coming out here soon. From what I've heard, 26.4 will probably, we're probably looking more like April or sometime. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with this, how much change we see with Siri. Not that I always trust Google, but I am looking forward to Siri becoming much more capable, hopefully.
What is the Gemini claim to fame?
I don't know. Can anybody answer? I don't know if I can really answer that or not. I mean, it's their AI model that Google uses. I mean, I've tried it along with others, but I think what Apple wants to do, from what I've heard, is they want to turn Siri into more of kind of like a chatbot kind of thing that you can use. Because it really does have its limitations right now. I don't know. Has anybody used Google Gemini a lot that can speak to this better than I can?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Oh,
All right. Sorry, I couldn't answer that more for you.
okay, not to worry.
All right. So I'm not going to go too much into this because I don't want to steal any thunder here, but Apple, you guys probably have heard, releases Creator Studio. And, just a couple things I'm going to say, because later on, Nathan is going to go in depth into Creator Studio and talk a lot about this. But there are 10 apps that are included in this group, and you can see those there. And obviously, some of these apps already exist, and they're going to have additional functionality. And you can see their pricing. It's normal pricing is $12.99 a month or $129 a year. But college students and educators, you can get a discounted price, which is pretty reasonable, $2.99 a month, $29.99 a year. And you do get a 1-month trial. So, and like I said, I don't want to, I put on here, like you can see on that little thing, or if you want to take a screenshot, hardware and stuff. But again, I don't want to step too much on Nathan's toes here, because I kind of put this in before Nathan is going to do something on this later. So I'll just kind of leave that at this, and we'll move on, and he'll come back to that. All right. I don't know how many of you use the Home app a lot. And this is something I just saw the other day. I know I saw it before, but literally 2 days ago, I stuck this back into my slides because I wanted to mention this. If literally it's today, because today's February 10th, but if you have not updated the Home app recently, you may find that it's not going to work to control your smart home devices any longer. So you might check on that and see. And I know that, Apple, they literally gave a firm date of February 10th. And as I've got here in some of these bullet points, it's, if you're a part of Home in the Home app that contains at least one smart home accessory, you'll be prompted to update if you're not using the latest version of Apple Home. I mean, it's pretty simple, but as I understood from reading it, like all of a sudden you will not be able to control your home devices if you're using an older version of Home, because evidently there's been some significant changes in it. So you might want to just look into that. I know I double checked last week just to make sure that, and I know I was good. So if you've been running updates and things, and then you probably will be okay. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to update too soon and you tend to wait, then you might have some issues with it. So I would urge you to check that.
I think the issue is the certificate in it has an expiration date, and that's why it has to be updated.
Okay, good to know. All right. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Apple just bought a startup called Q.ai, and they spent around $2 billion on it. And this is the second largest purchase that Apple has ever made of a company. The only one bigger was Beats when they bought that. Gosh, I guess that's what, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? I don't even remember how long ago. And it's an Israeli startup, but it's a little bit secretive in a way. We don't really know a whole lot about it. And so I'll read this statement that Apple's senior vice president of hardware technology said. Q.ai is a remarkable company that is pioneering new and creative ways to use imaging and machine learning. For thrilled to acquire the company with Aviat, who's like their president at the helm, and we're even more excited for what's to come. And so this company has been developing technology to analyze facial expressions and other type of communication, but there's very little information out there about them. It's kind of interesting. They were founded in 2022, and I have tried to dig and find more information about what they're doing, and I've had a hard time coming up with it. You can see that picture right there is their homepage when you go to it. And all it says on the page is, in a world full of noise, we craft a new kind of quiet, magic, realized. And all they have on there is little bios of their founders, and that's it. You can't find anything out there. I've got this quote that was on 9 to 5 Mac, and it said, based on patent filings, Q.AI has built machine learning tech for audio and silent voice input, including systems designed to understand and improve communication in noisy or difficult environments. The company has also researched tech that interprets microfacial movements and expressions to communicate without making audible sound. So I'm not exactly sure what Apple's doing with this, but considering they spent around $2 billion on it, they obviously have some serious plans in the works to use this technology. So it'll be interesting to see where they use that and what it's used for.
Sounds like spy software.
Yeah, a little bit.
Thing I did hear the other day, I think it was on Mike Geegab, that's actually the second company that Apple has bought from the founder of Q.AI.
Okay.
The company a few years ago. So
I
he's
think,
a smart guy.
yeah, Jim, I thought I heard something about that this was the second one, but I didn't remember what the first one was. So
Either.
yeah, but all I know is, $2 billion is a big chunk of change, even for Apple.
For sure.
So the next thing I was going to mention is why weather apps give us misleading data, because, especially in the wintertime and with snow coming. And so I know some of you know that I'm a bit of an amateur meteorologist. I've got weather instruments up on my roof here, and I'm really into weather stuff. And so I've always got friends and relatives and colleagues that are, texting me, calling me, hey, what do you think about this forecast? What's going to happen when there's a big storm coming? And so like people are always getting like real overly excited because like you look at the weather app and like literally they're predicting like, the end of the world or something, and you look at these weather apps and it's like one day, we're getting like 3 feet of snow, and the next day it's like, oh, well, there's a 20% chance of 1 inch of snow. And it's like, what happened? Why is it so chaotic and misleading? And so there's a couple reasons for this. So the big problem with weather apps is that they take the raw data from one forecast model and they don't have any context with it. And so using only one model, when data changes, that'll shift things pretty dramatically. So like when you're, looking at forecast models that professional meteorologists are putting out there, they use these computer models that are taking data from a whole host of forecast models rather than just one. And then they get this data from the computer, and then they also are combining that with like historical models where they've seen these similar type of storms in that area and just their experience they've accumulated. And so that's how they tend to craft their forecasts. And if they are truly good professional meteorologists, they are being a little bit conservative, with what they're putting out there. And so that's why these weather apps, are all over the place. Another problem with apps is that some of these snowfall predictions we see can be up to 10 days in advance. Well, 10 days in advance, weather models are nowhere near specific enough to be able to make those kind of, any kind of accurate predictions that far out. Generally speaking, until we get within 48 hours, it's just, you're just guessing. It just can't be that accurate. The other problem that we kind of have that I think that feeds into all this stuff is the hype online. There are just a ton of people out there on social media that are like, acting like they're, weather experts, and they're putting a lot of stuff out there, and it builds all this excitement, and people kind of get a little crazy with it. And so what I always tell people is, ignore all that noise, ignore all these people. It's like, if they're not a professional meteorologist, I don't pay any attention to them. And the last thing I'll just say about weather apps, they're really good at forecasting temperature, and as we get closer, the chances of precipitation, but they are notoriously bad at predicting the intensity and accumulation of storms. So kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at your weather apps. And if you're wondering why they're always so chaotic, these are kind of the reasons why. All right, I thought this was really interesting. Yes, iPhone text typos aren't your fault. Maybe. So in recent months, and I don't know about you guys, but over the last, year or so, I feel like I'm having more and more trouble typing on my iPhone keyboard when I'm texting. I'm just like making more mistakes, and I feel like I'm having to retype the same thing, and it's getting frustrating. And I thought, well, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older. I don't have quite the dexterity I used to. But especially since iOS 26 was released, there have been a lot of complaints about this same thing out there. And so I don't know if any of you been experiencing what you feel like is a greater amount of this kind of stuff when you're typing. Okay. I see Lyman raising his hand there. And so, I didn't think much of it. Okay, whatever. It's just frustrating. By the way, you can try turning off, now I'm blanking on what they call it when they autocorrect that they use. What's the name of that? Somebody
Spell check.
Well, no, it's when your text, it's not spell check. It's when there's a specific name that Apple calls it. Like, you can turn it off, but man, you're going to be in a world of hurt. It'll search for the correct words for you. And
part of autofill, I think.
Well, yeah, there's a specific name. Anyway, I've tried turning that off, and that was even worse because I was like, oh my God, I'm typing everything wrong now. But anyway, what's interesting and why I'm sharing this with you is there's a YouTuber named Michi Nekomichi who recently shared a video documenting keyboard mistakes when he's been typing on his iPhone running iOS 26. And so, like, this has really resonated across social media because people, like I said, have been having all these problems. So is it an iOS software issue? So you can see I put the address here if you want to see it, but here's the video. It's pretty quick. I'm going to share it with you guys.
If you're a long-time iOS user, you may have noticed that with recent iOS updates, you're making more typing mistakes than usual. If that's the case, you're not alone. Today I tried typing this phrase thumbs up multiple times and found that each time it was misspelled in one way or another. So I decided to record myself typing in slow motion and found this rather annoying bug. When I type the first two letters, everything appears to be normal, but watch what happens when I type the letter U. You can see that iOS has correctly detected the touch input and highlighted the letter U on the keyboard to signify that the key has been pressed. However, the character that ends up being entered is actually the letter J. This isn't the only time something like this happened. Here, you can see me pressing the letter U and getting the letter H instead. And here, I'm getting the letter N for November, even though it clearly shows I pressed the letter M for Mike. This problem isn't device-specific either, since I've been able to replicate it on multiple iPhones all running the latest public release of iOS 26, and I remember seeing it in iOS 18 as well. There are two main theories as to why this happens, and I don't think either one is correct. The first one is a fault with the autocorrect system. We know that Apple has tweaked how autocorrect has worked with each major iOS update, but the reason why I don't think this is the case is because this bug happens even if I disable autocorrect. And also, autocorrect is only supposed to trigger when I press the spacebar at the end of the word, not in the middle. For example, if I intentionally misspell the word hello, you can see that it's suggesting the autocorrection, but it hasn't swapped it out yet until I press the spacebar. So that's not the reason why. The other theory is the keyboard touch targets feature. Ever since the first iPhone, the OS has dynamically adjusted the size of the hitboxes of each key on the keyboard as part of the predictive texting, and this is a silent feature that works in the background. The reason why I don't think this is the culprit is because you can clearly see the keyboard UI animations here showing what keys are being pressed, and the keys being detected are not the letters being entered. If it was because of faulty detection, you would expect the J key to be highlighted here, not U. At the end of the day, I suspect it's a fault of the OS itself, so that's something we can't fix by adjusting the settings ourselves. So the best thing we can do is just report it via the feedback app and wait for a bug fix in future updates. So yeah, it's not your fault you're messing up words, it's just Apple being Apple. Who knows? Maybe they're just trying to simulate the butterfly keyboard in software.
All right. So anyway, maybe it isn't me. After I heard a lot of people talking about this video and I watched it. So it'll be interesting to see if in future updates or as we move next year, whatever, my typing on the iOS keyboard gets better than what it is now. Because like I said, I'm having plenty of little mistakes. I'm like, I keep typing the same thing. I know I'm typing this right, and it's just not typing it. So I keep an eye out for that in your own typing and see if you notice any oddities about it.
Yeah.
Glenn, one way to get around this is to dictate.
Yeah, I really hate doing that for a couple reasons. My first reason is when I dictate, I find half the time I don't know. I don't think I'm hard to understand, but it seems like it types things that I don't want. And two, I always find when I'm out in public and people are using, voice dictation to be highly annoying.
Yeah.
And I am so tired of being out in a public place and having to be party to somebody else's conversation over speaker or, like my son had an orchestra concert at school that we were at. And there's this lady that's like sitting there, having a conversation and, using voice to do stuff. And I'm like, I was trying not to be rude, but it's like, come on, lady. So, yeah, Don.
Can you put up that screen that immediately preceded the video?
Sure. This one?
Yeah, hang on just a second. And it's done. Thank you very much.
Sure, no problem.
Glenn, I have a very quick question for Nancy, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Nancy, when you're dictating as opposed to typing, are you able to do that pretty well in a quiet room, or is there noise in the area where you're dictating?
Well, and just in my case, it's usually I'm in a quiet space because I don't get out much. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't try to do it if I think I was in a noisy place, just because I would be bothering other people. And I'm like Glenn here. I can't abide people that are that rude. But no, it worked for me. It works beautifully. Sometimes I'll have to go in and type in maybe a name or the spelling of a name, but it sure does cut down on the mistakes for me.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on here. So I don't know if you guys are all aware of this or not, but you can find your Apple purchase history pretty easily. I know I was trying to hunt something down recently, and so, I was looking at this and I thought, maybe I should share this because I don't know if everybody knows that you can do this. And it's pretty easy to find what you've purchased and whether this can be apps or in-app purchases. And I think it's pretty easy to lose track of what you're spending. I think it's real easy to just, I'm just clicking here and doing this and doing that. And, it's like, holy cow, how much money am I spending? So I'll show you how to do that on both your iPhone and a Mac if you want to find this. So first, on your iPhone, go to settings and click on your name. So it takes you into your account. And you're going to scroll down and find media and purchases. And then you want to click on media and purchases. And when you do that, you'll get a little pop-up menu there, and you want to select view account. You want to press on view account there. And once you press on view account, you'll get into your account settings, and then you want to click on purchase history. And once you click purchase history, it will show you what you've got. And so you can see, like, it'll show pending stuff, and then it does it by date. by default, it's only showing you what you've done in the last 90 days, but you can change that. So you just have to change your filters, and you can then search for any time period you want. You can also search by cost, by type, or which family members made the purchases. So to get into these filters, if you notice on the purchase history screen there, it says showing last 90 days, comma paid, and that's in blue. If you
Yeah.
click on these blue letters right there where it says that, that will then open that filter, and you can set the date range, cost type, family member to whatever filter you want. I hate that they just set it to 90 days. I don't know, maybe it's quicker to just pull that up because it's not as much history. So anyway, then you can just scroll back and you can see everything that's been purchased. Before I go on to showing you how to do this on a Mac, any questions about on the iPhone? Okay. So to do this on your Mac, go to the App Store. You guys all know what that looks like. And then down in the bottom left corner of the App Store, you'll find your name. Click on your name, and then once you click on your name, go to the upper right, and you're going to click Account Settings and log in. So you're doing this all in the App Store app again. And once you click on the account settings and log in, it's going to be very similar to what you did on the iPhone. So you're going to select purchase history there, the one on top. I mean, you can also look at subscriptions or hidden purchases here. By the way, hidden purchases are apps or content that you bought, but you don't want to see in your main purchase history. And so when you hide an app, it won't appear in your list of purchases. Now, why you want to hide something, that can be for various reasons. And so you just go into your purchase history and you're going to see the same thing. And by the way, I thought somebody might ask this. So I thought I would put instructions in here how to hide an app. And so you can see there, if you want to know how to do it, take a quick screenshot of that. And you know, on your iPhone or on your Mac, you can hide that. Again, I don't think I've ever hidden anything. So, I mean, I can think of a few different reasons why you might want to, but anyway, that's how you do it there. So you can, like I said, you can track and go back and look at your purchase history on any of your devices. By the way, on your iPad, it's going to be similar to what you find on the iPhone. Okay, you can also, another little thing that you can look at is you can see an extended call history for any of your iPhone contacts. And so, like, you know, if I'm, you know, calling somebody, I want to know how many times did I call Alan Thorpe? I can go back and find my whole call history with Alan. And so it's kind of nice, you know, if you need that information for whatever. So here's how you do this. Go to your phone app, and their new view is what they call the unified view. And that's got all of your incoming calls and your outgoing calls and your missed calls. It's all in one place, one menu. So, and you want to find the contacts in the recent section whose call history you want to view. So you just go down and you find, you know, who was that person that I want to look at. And then you tap on the contact's name. Now, let me caution you guys, if you're not using the unified view and you're in classic there, don't tap on the name of that contact or it's going to call them. Instead, what you want to do is you want to click on the little I to the right of their name. And so it just depends which view you're using. If you're using the classic view that separates, you know, all of these into different categories, or if you're using the unified view that puts it all together. And once you do this, once you go to that person, you'll be able to scroll down and look at, you know, once you're in the contacts page, you tap on call history right there, and I'm hiding the contact information here from you guys, but you just get into the contact page, I hit call history, I press on that, and now I can see all the calls that I've made. It'll show you how long they were, whether they're incoming or outgoing, what was the date and time, and you can see all of this. From what I understand, what I've read and what I've tried to figure out is it looks like it will keep all the listings stretching as far back as you've been contacting that person with your current phone. I think when you get a new phone, I don't think this will continue it past your phone's history. And I've tried to verify that, and that's what I've understood it to be. So anyway, that's how you can go back and see a call history with any contact. And that might be really helpful if it's like a business contact or something like that, that you need to document something. I found a nice little graphic about what the Apple Watch buttons do. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget some of this stuff. And so this may be one of these pages, and I always share my presentation as a PDF, and I'll share it with both groups, so that, this can get posted. But if you have an Apple Watch and you want a primer on this, I would take a screenshot if I were you guys. So if you've got a regular Apple Watch, I thought Cult of Mac did a real nice graphic on this, and it shows you what happens if you swipe up, if you swipe down, if you on side button, if you click or double click or hold it. Same with the, it's got all the buttons. You can see exactly what's going to happen when you activate one of those things.
That's good.
I'm not going to go through all of these with you guys, but like I said, if you're an Apple Watch owner and it's something you think would be handy for you, just, take a quick screenshot of this, or, we'll have the PDF up online after the meeting. You can look it up as well. If you're an Apple Watch Ultra user, it changes a little bit. Can I go to that next screen, or is anybody still trying to take a screenshot here?
You can go on.
Okay.
I have one to go through that isn't included here, which might be very useful. If you click the crown and the side button simultaneously, you'll take a screenshot and it will appear on your phone.
Yeah, just don't hold it too long. Otherwise, you're going to reboot your watch. All right. Yeah, and that's good. I don't know why they didn't include that in here, but yeah, you can take a screenshot. He said if you hold both those, just click both those buttons at once, but don't hold them. It'll take a screenshot. And like he said, you'll find that in your photos on your phone. So if you've got an Apple Watch Ultra, and by the way, that little double button tap, if you just tap it, will do the same thing here. And if you hold them down, it'll eventually then reboot your whole watch. But here's the things you can find on the Apple Watch Ultra. So I'll give you guys a few seconds here to take a screenshot if you want it, and then I'm going to move on. All right, anybody good? Everybody good for me to move on? All right. Okay. Do you guys know that your iPhone has a spirit level tool in it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if people knew that or not. I actually have used that quite a bit. It's kind of one of those little hidden tools. I don't replace it. I mean, I've got a nicer level tool, but sometimes, it's down on my workbench and I don't really want to have to go down to my basement to get it. And so I will just use my phone, or I might be out somewhere and so the thing you got to know, if you didn't know about this, it's not a separate app. Okay. It's a part of the measurement app, and that's what that app looks like. That's the app icon right there. And so you got to find the measurement app in your phone first if you want to get to the spirit level. So once you do that in there, you've got two options at the bottom. When you open the measurement app, they're either measure and level. And so you just select the level icon down there on the right-hand side. And so you can use this. You can put the phone on its edge, or you can lay it flat on its back to use the level. Now, let me just say a couple things about this. One, if you have a case on the phone, that case is going to impact your phone laying flat. So you need to think about that. You might want to find a side that doesn't have any protrusions from it. The other thing is, if you lay the phone flat on its back, well, you're going to have the camera part sticking out. Although if you have a case, it may make that flat because the case may, extend everything so it's level. So just think about that when you use it. And when the phone's laying flat, the level is going to be represented by two bubbles. You can see on that little left image there, you've got two bubbles, and as you get closer, they're going to come together until once you get to zero, they've merged into one bubble. And what will happen is when you get to level 0%, your phone will turn, the background will turn from red to green. Now, if you're using a phone on its side, then that angle is going to be represented by the line there you see over the zero on the right-hand picture. And that line will change as you move your phone. So anyway, that is your spirit level tool. And by the way, you know, how accurate is it? I've tested mine against a regular level, and as long as I compensated or understood for the case and the buttons and camera, it came out real close. I mean, it was pretty accurate. You know, it's again, it's the protrusions in the case and things like that will throw you off. Okay, the Passwords app in iOS 26 has a really cool new feature, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but it you know, because I don't know about you guys, but I use Apple Passwords extensively. I don't use a separate password manager, and pretty much now for everything I use their, you know, complex passwords, and I think it's great. And so, you know, but there is a fail with that new, when it's generating a password, that can be a hassle because sometimes it doesn't go through and you forget what it, you know, or you don't really know what it is because it's just a jumble of letters and numbers and symbols. And so now there's a fix for this. So when you have a new password that you generate using the Passwords app, but it for whatever reason it didn't save correctly in the Passwords app, there's a menu option that appears. So go to the upper right in the Passwords app and you click on the three little dots up there and you'll see a generated passwords option. Now, let me say this option will only appear when a new password has been generated in the last 30 days. Otherwise, that won't show up for you. So it's really there in case, like you said, you generated something recently, but for whatever reason, it didn't save in the Passwords app correctly. And if you don't see that generated passwords option, then go down to the search bar at the bottom of the screen. And in that search bar, type the name of the website of the app that the password was generated with. And I'm going to say this with emphasis, you might be able to find something, but you very well might not, depending on how long ago you did that. So it's kind of a crapshoot in that regard. So, so basically, if you go into this generated password, you will see recent ones. So let's say you had to generate a password for a website, but it didn't save in there. You can look and find what the generated password was. If you did it recently, it'll have it in there. And then you can, you know, get that password to be able to log into that site. And you should, once you go back and re-log into the site, now you should be good. It should save it in there for you. But that saves you from having to go and, you know, I lost my password and now I got to go through that whole thing of, you know, send me a link and generate a new password and doing all that stuff. I don't know if we have any F1 fans here. As you guys know, Apple TV has become the provider for Formula One races and content in the United States for this year. And so if you're an Apple TV subscriber, you can now get more in-depth content with that. You can link your Apple TV account with F1.tv and you get the F1 premium tier at no extra charge. And so it says here, F1 Premium offers a high-quality ad-free service and includes live feeds of every session at every event featuring driver onboard cameras, team radio, and in-depth data alongside exclusive behind-the-scenes content. F1 TV Access provides a simplified alternative, giving fans access to live racing timing data and full race replays. So my son and I are big F1 fans, so I went and did this. I just, you know, I give you an article through 9to5 Mac that had on this. And it's, you know, if you go in there and follow it, it's real easy to do. And, you know, I've already been looking at some of the extra content on there. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, during races, what other stuff I can bring up. So I think it'll be kind of cool. So there are some some links. And again, if you're an F1 fan, you might want to take a screenshot of those links.
Glenn, could I ask a question?
Sure.
I wonder if you would take a moment or a minute to explain how using the passwords app. I mean, I'm 76 and I've only used traditional passwords my whole life. And I really don't know how that works where you generate these complex passwords in an app and then are able to go back and use them. If you could just give a quick overview of that.
Well, when you go, like, let's say you're going on a website and you're creating an account and there's a passwords, field there to enter a password. When you click on there, your iPhone or your Mac should pop up and ask you, do you want passwords to generate, a complex password for you? And you have the option to do it with symbols or without symbols. And so it literally will prompt you and you can just say yes. The only thing you have to be careful with this is sometimes the password it generates doesn't meet the standards of what that site wants you, like, you got to have a number and you got to have a symbol and you got to make sure of that. So a lot of times on the very right-hand side of that field, there's a little like eyeball symbol, little eye symbol you can click to show the password. And then I can look and see, okay, am I meeting all the criteria? I'm also extra paranoid. I always copy that in case it doesn't get saved. I mean, I showed you another way around that now, but I always copy it just in case I need it. So once you tell it, yes, generate this password, and it'll do it. If there's sometimes they have two password fields where it's enter your password and then it'll ask you to retype your password. It'll fill it in both for you. And then all you have to do is, if you're meeting the criteria, you just hit,
okay, but
save or whatever.
Okay, but then when you go, I mean, if it's a complex password, are you supposed to copy that and paste it somewhere or what?
No.
How do you get back in the next time you want and you don't know what that is?
Okay, it gets saved by the passwords app. And so the next time you go to, that website and you click on it, as soon as you click on that field, you'll get a little prompt that comes up. Mine's always in blue. I don't know if it's always in blue. And then it asks for my fingerprint on my Mac, for instance, or it needs face recognition on my phone. Passwords has that stored. It's got the site and the password linked together, and it knows when you want to go log in, it checks its database in your passwords app, and that it's stored in there. It knows automatically.
And you like that system?
Yeah, it works really well for me. I know people use other password managers, but I like it. I mean, the only downside to it, in my opinion, is if I'm not on one of my devices and I want to log into something, I generally have no idea what my password is because it's a complex password, but that's pretty rare. And then if I'm on somebody else's device and trying to log into something, I mean, I've always got my phone on me, so I can always go into the passwords app on the phone because you can go in, like if you go in the passwords app, I don't know if you can see that screenshot, like where it says all, I can just click that and then I'll do a search for, the website.
Okay.
F1.com, I can just put F1 and it'll find it. And you can actually click on the password and copy it.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation because I've been avoiding that my whole life, so maybe I should give it a try.
They've made it as easy as they could, and it's very helpful. The only thing you might notice is, like Glenn said, you get to the site and it may already open the login password function for you. If it doesn't, just click on sign in. And it'll bring up the little function.
Yeah.
And as soon as it does, you're in there. All you got to do is click sign in again, and boom, you're ready to work.
And
Hey,
by
Glenn,
the way, yeah,
there's a new thing about passcodes that I've seen. And, they
Pass-
say, like
or
you go to the
passkey.
bank, they're asking about passcodes rather than passcards. And it's another option. Have you
well,
created?
if you look down there, that image where it says passwords there, you can see in the passwords
pass keys. That's what I meant.
all those things.
Pass
Yeah.
keys.
And so you can look those up there, or like if you're trying to find a Wi-Fi password that you've used before, it'll be saved in there. So you don't have to just go through all and do a search. You can break that down. By the way,
what's the difference between the pass keys and a passcode?
Exactly. What is
I
it?
don't know. I'm not sure what the difference between passcodes and a password is. I don't know what that is.
Well, they got this thing called
I can give you a rough idea. Pass keys are for websites that you need to log into. Passcodes are generally used by companies because they're registering how many people are logging into that application and using it and for how long. But the pass key typically is either going to be your photo, so all you have to do is be looking at your camera, or it's going to be the button that you press on a MacBook that is your power button, but you just lay your finger on it, and you've already registered a fingerprint there, and that's all they're asking for. So
several of my banks are starting to. Several of my banks are asking for. Don't you want to use a pass key rather than the passcode you've been saving?
By the way, pass keys can be a bit of a pain in the butt, I have found, because again, if you're not on your device and you're trying to log in through something different, you're not going to have the pass key, and then you're like in a world of hurt trying to get into.
So. Pass keys are generally circumventing putting in the login and password.
Yeah, right. They're supposed to be more secure, though.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I've been resisting them.
Well, every site that I have a pass key in, I also have a password. So for those sites, if I am on somebody else's computer, I can do what you said earlier. I can use my iPhone to find my password and log in user ID and log in that way. I don't need to use the pass key.
You know, Dwight, I have found that for some of them, but I have come across a couple where I could not find a password, and then I just couldn't get in. So, you know, I have found actually this. My pass key for Google, I found I've had to go around.
Whoops, you're breaking up.
Around a few.
Hey, Glenn, you're breaking up.
But keys are secure than passwords.
We're losing Glenn.
Can you hear me okay? Can you guys see me?
Now you can. Yeah.
Now I can? Okay.
One more thing.
Sorry about that.
On passcodes. Passcodes generally are the smaller passwords that you use to log into a piece of hardware. So the password that you use to log into your Mac, for instance, can be a passcode. A PIN is a passcode, and other smaller than the standard length passwords are passcodes.
Okay.
I don't know.
By the way, you also know on there, you'll see where it says family passwords. Any login you can choose to share with your family group. And so like you can see, I've got 12 of those. They're things that we all log into, like generally like some of our streaming services and, our Amazon account, things like that then you can share those with people in your family group.
That's
so
good to know.
This is a great discussion. And Francis, I'm really glad you asked, because I think we could probably actually spend more time on some of this stuff and getting to understand it better. I've been wanting to do something about the passwords app and stuff for a while. Although I'm going to try to move a little quicker here now, just because I've gotten a little behind where I wanted to be. So I don't know if back in the day, any of you were in video gamers of any kind, but I noticed a couple things. I don't know if you guys remember the Sid Meier video game Civilization. I mean, it's been out since the early 90s, 1991. Well, I just noticed Apple Arcade just added the newest Civilization 7 game. And if you're, if you've got one of the Apple service plans and you've got Apple Arcade, any of those games you can play for free with your, well, you're paying for the subscription, but you can play for free with that, you know, on your iPad, iPhone, or Mac. And so, you know, if you were a fan of that back in the day, I noticed, like I said, Apple Arcade is starting to add more titles and more prominent titles to Apple Arcade than what they were doing a year or two ago. The other thing I noticed was the they had this one thing that was kind of fun. I was playing with video gaming, as I said, 1980s style, and it's interesting because it's like being in the old video arcade. It's called Retrocade, and it's got a whole bunch of games that were like real popular in the 80s. And whoop, I didn't want to go there. And you can see this is what it looks like. And so you pick out the arcade game you want, like good old Asteroids and Centipede and, you know, Space Invaders and Track and Field, and there's Frogger, Pac-Man. And so they've got all these games you can play in there. And so it was kind of fun, except the only bad thing in testing this out, and I'm going to try to, if you notice the controls there, they've got a little joystick on the left and there are two buttons on the right. The problem is there's nothing tactile about the joystick or the buttons. And so I'll often find, like, you know, I'll die or whatever because my finger or thumb slipped, you know, just moved on the screen and I was no longer on that button or joystick and it didn't quite respond. So it definitely makes these much more challenging than if I had a, you know, like something to control it. Now,
you know how Bluetooth controllers work?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Nathan, yes, they will. You can hook up a controller to it and play. I have not done that, but I want to try it. So if you're a video gaming fan of the 1980s and you spent time pumping quarters into these arcade games back in the day, you might want to check this out. Again, it's called Retrocade. And by the way, that is also in Apple Arcade. And again, if you have the subscription to it, it's a free game in there. And finally, I don't know if do you guys remember the old Intel Inside stickers they used to put on Windows machines?
Nope.
Well, there is, I came across this. There is this guy, I follow his feed on social media, basic Apple guy, and he's created these stickers, and now they're silicon inside stickers. And so you can get these. And by the way, if you go to that site and you actually look at it, these stickers are made really, really well. And they've got all kinds of different ones for different Mac stuff. And it's kind of cool. Like, you know, so if that, you know, just some fun, you might check that out. So, all right. And there you have it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. That's good news.
Thank you very much.
I always
Thanks,
hope,
Glenn.
you know, you guys get some benefit and some new information out of that. And again, Francis, thank you for asking that, because you're probably not the only person that had questions about, you know, passwords and Apple passwords. And I think sometimes it's easy for us to just gloss over that stuff and blow through it when not everybody, you know, knows that stuff or is used to using it, you know? So,
right.
You know, that's good to know, because I feel like we could probably spend another half an hour talking about, you know, passwords and all that kind of stuff. And it's so important.
Right.
All righty, well, let's hand it over to Nathan now for his part.
Okay, Nathan, you ready?
All right. I'm going to be talking about Apple Creator Studio. And Glenn already talked about the prices, but let me go over that again.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder on any
No,
of
that's
this.
fine. In fact, I want to get to it. You mentioned something that I haven't seen anywhere else. So for the standard price and for the student price, you get a 1 month free trial, $12.99 per month, or $129 per year. For students, it's $2.99 per month or $29.99 a year. and this is what I haven't seen anywhere except for what you mentioned, Glenn, is that it only works for college students. It does not work for K-12.
You know, I don't want to,
educators or students.
you know, and that's what I saw, but I, you know, I know it's so new that sometimes the information out there can be incorrect. So don't take that as gospel, I would say.
No. There's a whole Apple discussion forum about it. There's in fact, I tried to do it on my own. The company that Apple uses for verification of your education credentials only has a drop-down menu of just colleges. So there's no way to do a like I teach elementary school to put in like a random elementary school in there.
You know, I wonder why, Nathan, that they wouldn't do it for all education, why they would just limit it to college.
Yeah, hopefully that changes. But that was like the biggest thing I learned over the weekend. If you buy a new Mac or iPad, you get 3 months free. And you can also buy all of these apps outright. You can still buy Final Cut Pro for $299.99 and Logic for $199.99 outright. So one way to think about this is if you bought Final Cut, Logic, Pixelmator Pro, Compressor, and Motion standalone, it would be $450. With $129 a year, it would take 4.5 years to make it not worth it. So I think for the big apps, it is a extremely good value, especially if you just want to try out Final Cut for a month or two while you're editing some video, and you can start a subscription and end it. That's just so much cheaper than paying $300. Also, but what doesn't make sense is that they included Pages, Keynote, and Numbers in this bundle, and those are free apps. But they're still free as standalone apps. You just don't get things like the Content Hub, which is their stock photo library, or the AI features like the content image generation. And you can still use the new Pages, Numbers, and Keynote without a subscription. You just get these promos saying, if you want to use these features, then check out the Creator Studio.
But if you're using the old...
But I think it's a big mistake that they added Pages, Numbers, and Keynotes into this bundle.
But I keep getting the idea that your numbers won't be updated again if you don't move to Creators. The version of numbers that you have now
they
is not
haven't
going to
said
work.
anything, but for now, everything is still available.
I think it's going to remain available, the current versions, but the one that's in Creator Studio is an enhanced version of Numbers and Pages that does additional things.
Yeah, yesterday when I was going to go use Numbers, it wanted me to do an update, and I said, "What? Why?" And so I'm trying to figure out just what it's going to do to me. If all of a sudden I'm going to start owing them money every month, I may not use Numbers.
You just have to be careful and click on Not Now on all that stuff.
I was able to update all the free apps, so that they're at least current with the current Creative Studio.
Now, if you try Content Hub items without subscribing, they are watermarked. And you can't filter out premium content if you have the free app. So you can see everything in the content picker window, but if you click on it, it's going to say you need a premium like template, it's going to say you need the subscription.
Is it going to be a premium version of numbers for the iPhone?
It's just right now it's on.
I mean, I open numbers
Yeah.
on my iPhone all the time.
I think the content Creator Studio is just on the iPad and the Mac.
Right, right. So what am I supposed to do? My iPhone is going to be still compatible with numbers on the Mac?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
I think I'll wait.
What about Final Cut Pro? I bought it over a year ago for $300. And I guess now going forward, will there be differences in what I have and its updates versus the creator?
As of right now, there's no difference. The standalone Final Cut is getting the same updates. The only thing that's changing is some of the AI features is going to be added to the premium.
You mean the creator version will have AI features that my version won't?
Yes.
Oh boy, that's great.
Yeah.
I always think they'll give me a refund. I guess not.
Maybe you get an upgrade price for the whole system.
Okay, another pro is that with this, you can share with up to 6 family members with family sharing, and there are. So we talked about the content hub. That's like the stock photography and illustrations. You can get that elsewhere. A lot more full featured. I was watching a video from Gary Rosenzweig, MacMost, and he said if you go through one of the major, like iStock Photo, it's like $24.99 a month, and there's like a ton of stock photo options. But with the Apple Content Hub version, is very, very tiny, very limited on that kind of stuff. There's also AI features like slide generators, notes generators, and Keynote, so you can have it generate your slides for you and generate your notes, presenter notes in Keynote. There's something called Magic Fill and Numbers. In all of them, there's the AI image generation, and that's powered by OpenAI, so ChatGPT. And then I haven't seen this yet. I don't know if it's available. There's supposed to be a montage maker in Final Cut where we'll create a montage for you. And there's some things that are not available in Creator Studio, like Photomator, which is when Apple bought Pixelmator, they also bought this app called Photomator, and that's not available yet. And then Freeform is coming; it's not yet available.
What exactly is Pixelmator?
Pixelmator is a photo editing program, kind of like Photoshop, that Apple bought. It was one of their million or billion-dollar acquisitions, and everyone didn't know what was going to happen to it, and they kept it going, and so now it's included in Creator Studio. It's kind of like a Photoshop type of program, and you can also create images from scratch. I have the old standalone Pixelmator, and I always used it to like create flyers or programs for like my choir concerts and things like that.
And if you don't mind, what does Logic Pro do?
Logic Pro is I'm going to demo all of these apps in a minute, but Logic Pro is for music professionals. It's a DAW, a digital audio workstation, which means that you can put in, you can either have AI musicians play and you can mix it all up, or you can have real audio, so you can plug in your guitars and vocals and all of your instruments and record it and mix it and then bounce it back out into a song that you can add to iTunes or Spotify or wherever. And then yeah, so let's start looking at some of these apps and what they can do. All right, so let's start with Logic.
Can you speak up a little more, please?
Let's start with Logic. Okay, so you have your software instruments, your real instruments that you plug in through audio, your session players, and your patterns. So just for fun, I want to show you something cool called stem splitting. And we'll just open up a software instrument in MIDI. And so this is what Logic looks like. I'm going to open up a song that I brought in from iTunes. You can bring in songs that are non-DRM. They don't have any digital rights management attached to them, so you can edit them. So here's as long as like an MP3 or an AAC type file that's not part of Apple Music or Spotify, you can bring it in. So what you can do is, if you right click, there's this thing called Stem Splitter, and it breaks it down into just the vocals, the drums, the bass, guitar, piano, and other. So if I play this, can everyone hear that?
No.
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 Oh,
Sharing, you have to enable it.
I have to enable sound and sharing.
You gotta click on those two little boxes on your way through sharing.
Share computer sound.
You might have to stop your share and restart your share and click those two boxes when you do that.
Allow. All right, let's try this. Can you hear that?
No.
No.
Yeah, just now go back into your share, click those, you'll see the two little click check boxes on the right there and enable those.
Yeah. Click the bottom one and it gets the top one too.
Nathan, we're not
Hear
hearing
that?
you at all.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can't hear the music though.
No, but your microphone is a little bit weak. I was going to ask you to increase your gain by a notch or two.
It's all the way up.
That's plenty loud.
That's much better.
Okay.
I have noted. There you go. Now we can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just barely.
All right. Well, what's neat about this is so I can take the vocals all the way. Hello?
Take your voice back down halfway.
Yeah.
I can take the vocals all the way down, and now it's like a karaoke track.
And Nathan, let me just interject something, Nathan, that if any of you have ever played with GarageBand, Logic Pro takes GarageBand and adds features and a little bit of complexity to it. So if you've used GarageBand before, you kind of get the idea a little bit.
But now the new feature in this is if you can see, let me see if I can zoom in. And now you can drag it up into the chord view and it detects all the chords.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then you can go, there's some new session players. So we'll close out of this. And go to session player, we'll add a drummer. And you can change like pop rock, retro rock, hard rock, punk rock, funk rock, all these different styles of drummer.
We still can't hear anything.
I'm not playing anything. Can you hear it now?
Oh.
No.
Nathan, don't feel too bad about this. I've struggled with this stuff on Zoom. It really, I think you have to change your speaker source. It really has trouble going back and forth between two different sound systems, if you will.
And my Zoom is set to musician. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've had problems with this stuff before as well.
How do you do musician?
Zoom normally will kind of block everything that's not your voice. And so in musician mode, which is in the audio settings, it should include everything that is going on in the background as well as everything else.
Okay.
But apparently it's not working. Anyways, so you have your session players, you have your drums, and you can add keyboards and bass and all of that. So you can have all these AI musicians. It has a lot bigger sound library, and it works on the iPad. Now, before Apple Creator Studio, Apple had included or brought out Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro as subscription apps for the iPad. Now, these are all included in the Creator Studio versions. So now you get Logic Pro, Final Cut Pro, and then Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, and a brand new app for the iPad, Pixelmator Pro. All of those are now on the iPad as well. All right, so let's get out of Logic and go to Final Cut. Now here's something cool. This is the meeting that we had in August with CapMac and GAMUG. And this is the edited version. What they've done now in Final Cut is you can now search text, spoken words, and visuals. So if I go into this little magnifying glass and go to transcript and includes, and I want to search for, say, ChatGPT, it just finds the clips that have ChatGPT in there.
I like ChatGPT, and sometimes I'm blanking. What's the?
So it just finds the clips that have that in there. Or you can do a visual search. At the end, I talked about my bird feeder, so I can search for the birds.
It's my bird feeder.
Mm-hmm. And so you can search for where exactly in the video you talked about a certain thing, or someone mentioned a certain thing like ChatGPT or Apple, or even something that's may not be the exact wording, but it's is related to. So on a video I saw on YouTube, she brought up a speaker talking about the YMCA, and it didn't find all. He spent most of the speech talking about it, but it didn't find everything that was related to it. But when she put it on related to, then anything like where he mentioned the Y, it brought it up.
Does Apple provide tutorials for all these apps?
Oh yeah, and there's a ton of videos on YouTube and tutorials, and there's a huge help section. Final Cut has been around for many years. There's many printed manuals and lots of help and sources and everything. I'm very much a beginner at Final Cut.
Could you play a little bit of Final Cut, because I thought I heard the sound with this one when you were messing with it.
The screen is a little yellow.
Right. Why does that work with
notice
sound? Your other
if you
one not?
tap?
I don't know.
I think it has to do with because it's music and not spoken word.
Really?
Yeah, and I researched it before. And the people in GAMUG will remember a few years back, I was trying to demo some GarageBand stuff and struggling with it. You've got to go into your audio settings on your Mac, and you've got to change them to a different source. But like spoken word, just like when I play you a video, in my presentation, it'll play that. It's just when you try to do this stuff, it works a little differently, but I can't explain everything how.
Just seems like this program and the other one ought to be close enough together that if one works, the other would. Don't know.
Another new feature in Final Cut is what's called a beat detection. So if you bring in a piece of music as the background for your video, you can right click it and enable beat detection. And what it does is it brings in all of these the solid lines represent the beats in the music, and so you can edit based on those solid lines. Each one of the dots up here represents each one of the beats in the song. So where the solid lines are the downbeats, the strong beats. So when you edit, you can cut to where those strong lines are and kind of edit to the beat. So that's the other new feature in Final Cut. All right, next, I want to go into Keynote. Because I think this is kind of cool. This is their slide creation. So we'll do a new document and just a blank presentation. And over here, I have my notes that I worked on over the weekend to do this presentation. So I have all my notes, and then talking about each of the different apps here. I can Command A and copy it, and then you can do generate new slides. I'm going to say Apple Creator Studio. Is it worth it? And then put in my key points. I'm just going to paste that whole document in and then generate. So it takes a second to generate all the slides. And while we're doing, oh, here it goes. Apple Creator Studio, is it worth it? Then overview of today's discussion, pricing options, value, inclusion, subscription and standalone, 4.5 years to break even.
Nathan, I assume that the font has to do with the number of slides you'll end up with.
What?
Or do you have a header for each one?
It just that was all auto created.
So did that just use the AI to auto create that?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's only available in the premium version or the subscription.
That's only available on what?
In the subscription. Then it created the session or the presenter notes as well at the bottom.
Wow.
Over here is the generated image. So if you want to have AI assist powered by OpenAI, may create unexpected results. So you can put in your ChatGPT prompt of creating an image if you want to do that. There's also the here's the content hub. So this is the stock photo gallery. And if it has what you need, that's good. But Gary said it's tiny compared to other stock libraries.
Does the system have a certain amount of credits that you can do as far as creating those images from scratch? You know, Adobe charges you based on how many of those, if you get really sophisticated with it and use a lot of their AI, it starts to cost you.
I haven't seen any comment or discussion about that, so I assume that for right now it's included in the subscription. All right, so that is Keynote.
A new high-end.
Next is, well, the other new thing they did is in numbers. So here in numbers, you have this thing called Magic Fill. And the only thing it seems to be working on right now is inputting addresses. So if you have, I just made up some fake address names and addresses over on the left. And then if you, as long as you enter in one of them, then it will magically autofill the rest. So if I go down to create this field for last name and click on Magic Fill Cells, it should create just the last names. And you can check it and you can accept that as right. Then do the same thing for first names. And that's right. And then addresses. And did that right. City. And then we can even try just doing the rest of it and see what happens. And there it made a mistake. So you can reject that and there it made a mistake, so you have to put that in, and then as you enter stuff in, it learns.
Does it learn in general or just for that particular spreadsheet?
That I don't know, but it's one of the. This is one of the new AI features and numbers, and again, it's only available in the subscription version.
Ooh. Man, that's
then only thing they added in Pages is the stock photos and image creation. There's not much in Pages. And here's my big problem is my Pixelmator doesn't work. So here's the new Pixelmator. Bring it over. If I open something in my Photos browser, let's just take the biscuits I made and open, I get a blank screen. This is not supposed to happen. This is a bug. I put it in the Pixelmator forum in Reddit. I've gotten about 2,000 views, but no one has been able to.
Is that the only picture that doesn't come through?
No, none of them will work. I even tried doing a new document, and nothing comes up. So this is a bug in mine. I have a conflict somewhere. I even tried creating a new user on my Macintosh to just like a test user, and it works fine there. It works fine if you go into Photos and you take a picture, edit, click on the three dots, and well, this one is oh, that's a video. Never mind. Let me get out of the videos. Let's take that, edit, and then Pixelmator Pro. And so it works fine within Photos, but within Pixelmator Pro, it does not work.
Nathan, I have a brief question if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a forum for Creative Studio subscribers where they can report these bugs?
There is provide feedback in the menu option, and I should do that. Also, I have the standalone old version of Pixelmator Pro, and it works fine there as well. So this is the old version of Pixelmator Pro. And everything works great there. It's just the new one. There's some bug.
Biscuits look good.
Somebody ate one.
Quality control.
Yeah, and there's one thing I want to show you in Pixelmator. I'll bring it up on the iPad because it works there. So they have this thing called Warp. That's the new feature in Pixelmator Pro in the subscription version. So, like if you wanted to add your own image to a T-shirt and see it automatically conform to the T-shirt and the body, then you can replace it from photos. And let's just say like this TCU. And then wherever you drag it, it warps it to the shirt. And so that's really the only new feature in Pixelmator Pro.
I'm guessing you can drag those handles as well.
Yes, so like you can make it small.
You know, Nathan, that's a really nice feature because I do a lot of work in Photoshop, and it's not always easy to get the right angle and everything when you warp stuff.
I think you need to curve your model.
And that is my presentation on Apple Creator Studio.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was
thank you.
really good.
Thank you very much.
I love that T-shirt thing.
Thanks, Nathan. That it gives us a little bit of insight into it. I know that and I know that Craig had said, that it seemed like it was, an advanced garage band for Logic Pro, and it's Apple's pro level audio, music tool for creating, like I said, as he said, you can plug your own instruments in, you can bring in loops that they have, you can bring in beats, and you can create all kinds of music and then export it as a song. And also, Nathan,
I think that's what I was saying, and what I've seen elsewhere is that where Apple Creator Studio shines is in the big apps, Logic Pro, Final Cut, and then Motion Compressor and Pixelmator and all that. Where it falls down flat is Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. I just don't understand why they did that.
My guess is they're probably going to add more content for those apps. Final Cut Pro, by the way, and again, that's more of a pro level video editing software. And the interesting thing is I have thought for years about getting Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro, but then I'm always like, do I use them enough to justify spending all that money? But especially now that I can get the educator discount on this for $30 a year, it kind of seems like, why not? I mean, even if I don't use it a ton, just for whenever I do decide to use it, it might be worth it.
Glenn, it sounded like from what Nathan was saying that you're not eligible for the educator discount.
Yeah, I just have to show proof that I work at a education institution, from what I understand.
Yeah, but doesn't it have to be a college?
As I understood that, that was just the students.
Oh, so it makes it treats
teachers like college
a
students.
student customer different from an educator customer.
All it said when I looked at it, and I don't know if they've updated this, it just said, educators, you had to prove that you were an educator. I mean, I've got my ID and everything. So I don't know, but I do feel like they need to clarify that. And I don't understand why they're differentiating between K through 12 versus college. I don't get that. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see some more information on that.
While I'm thinking about this suite of apps, I decided to expand a little bit of my knowledge and use of numbers. And one of the things that I want to do is create templates. Well, I found where I could create a template, and I did. I can't find it. I don't know where they go to be able to choose them for the next iteration. Anybody
Don,
else got an idea?
you might try in your library folder. And I'm trying to think what they call. Hold on a second. I got to go. And I'll tell you in a second when I look at this here. I just have to go. If you go to your library, hold on. And then it is, what is it called? Not application support. If anybody remembers this, help me out. But
for my local drive, the library is grayed out.
Yeah, well, so when you go up to on the Finder your Go menu, if you hold down Option, Library will pop up in that menu. And when you go in there, go to Application Support, and then find the folder for the app you're looking for, and you might find it in folders within there, because a lot of the applications will store stuff in there.
Oh, well, most of that's going to be over there in the iCloud drive then.
So I found one way to get to the templates, Don. You only use templates when you're creating a new document. So if you go into Open Documents, and to create a new document, it gives you a bunch of built-in templates, and down at the bottom of those built-in templates are your templates.
Oh.
So you do, while you're in numbers, you say, I want to create a new number, a new document. Click on the new document icon. It says choose a template. Scroll down to the bottom, and then that's where my templates are.
Yep, I found it.
Okay, let me
Should I show? Do you want me to share that?
Yeah, give me a second here.
And the great thing, as Dwight's pointing out, is that works the same for all, like I've noticed for all Office stuff, for all of Apple, all those Apple things, all the templates are found. It's the same, done the same throughout all these different software packages.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I can share and show that. Let me do that.
And Dwight, why don't you
go for it
quicker?
I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I must have closed numbers. Share. What? Oh, documents. Nope. What? Oh, they've changed it again. How do I find that? How do I find the numbers app? It used to be on the front page, the first page. It says application windows, and it's not there.
How rude.
Yeah, how rude. Let's try that again.
I keep getting filer screen, wanting me to choose a couple of
Here, let's go do this again.
files.
Share. I'll
I
just
put
share.
in the Apple discussion forum about how K-12 educators are not included.
Okay, so if you are, let's change the resolution here. If you open up Numbers, you will see the open dialog box, the open document dialog box. And down at the bottom is new document. You see that button right there where I'm pointing to?
Yeah.
New document, click that. And then now it says choose a template. And then just scroll down to the bottom. These are the
Go on the left, there's a bar that you can find new templates.
Yeah, it says right there, it says my templates right there. I'm doing, yeah, you're right. That's the
slow
easier way. But you can scroll down to the bottom there and there is, I have one template. So
Okay.
that's my template.
Okay.
You can also get additional templates at apple.com, I believe. So if you want additional templates over the ones that are here, then you can do that way.
Yeah, I need to figure that out because I don't like the fact that they've stolen one column and one row already that I can't use now. So what kind of template would that be? Anyway, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay. Ron, you want to, the video you had there, do you want to share that? Because I'm looking at the time, we can fit that in.
You want to do just one? Okay.
Yeah. So we had a couple other little videos we wanted to share. We won't have time for the one that I was going to share is a little longer, and it was about the new Spotlight. Like Apple has really updated.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I was going to share a real nice video, and I'm going to do it at our next GAMUG meeting. But for our CapMac friends, it was a Mac Most video. So it's called A Guide to Using Spotlight on a Mac. And so if you go to Mac Most, you can find it there. And for our group, I'll plan on sharing that at our next meeting. So Ron, why don't you tell them what you've got?
It's just about the new AirPods Pro 2.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that?
Those are the ones that you can get adjusted for special tuning for a particular ear.
I have no idea.
A new set of high-end AirPods Pro could be shipping by year's end, and they may have a killer new feature. Real quick, before we get into it, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest Apple news and reviews, hit that subscribe button. I know we just got the AirPods Pro 3 in the fall of 2025, but the update seems minimal in a lot of ways. They have better seal and an updated case, improved ANC, and heart rate sensing. But it seems Apple has been working on a more ambitious model, and a recent cacophony of rumors suggests they're coming soon. First things first, we need to know how to refer to this new rumored product. I'm sure most people would just say the AirPods Pro 4, but known leaker Instant Digital said that's not necessarily going to be the case. Instead, the new buds will just be a higher-end version of the AirPods Pro 3, which makes sense because there is a big gap between the $249 Pro 3 and the $549 AirPods Max. These new ones could easily sit at $299, and considering some of the competition out there from the likes of Bose, it feels fair. Apple also already sells two versions of the AirPods 4 with and without ANC. Yeah, so for this video, let's just call them the 2026 AirPods Pro. Deal? So the 2026 AirPods Pro will largely keep the same AirPods Pro 3 design. One minor change could be the chip that is on the inside. The AirPods Pro 3 still kept the H2 chip on the inside, which is more than capable for what they do. But as Bloomberg said, Apple's H3 chip is well into development and may debut in the 2026 AirPods Pro. That's Apple's wireless chip that they use for headphones. it would give that extra processing power needed for any new features. And what new feature? Cameras. That's kind of a lot to unpack with a single word, because if you're like me, you have many immediate questions. Like, what kind of cameras? What will they do? Do they take photos? Visual intelligence? Multiple sources have corroborated that they will be, in fact, infrared cameras. So that will not be a camera capable of taking photos, videos, or anything like that around you, which is very good from a privacy standpoint. That also seems to pour cold water on the idea of using these AirPods cameras for any sort of Apple visual intelligence features. Rather, they could be used to track movement, like of your hands. According to Ming Chi Kuo, among others, these infrared cameras will be used for hand tracking and gesture detection. While this has been widely reported, I haven't really seen anyone talk about what kind of gestures this would be. Like just flinging your hand left and right to control tracks or dismiss a phone call. While I was working on this text, I was talking to Mike Worthley here at Apple Insider about it. And you know what also has infrared cameras and tracks gestures? Apple Vision Pro. What if the 2026 AirPods Pro bring Vision Pro style gestures to iPhone, iPad, and Mac? Tap your fingers to play or pause your media. Tap and drag left and right to adjust the scrub bar playhead, or tap and drag up and down to adjust the volume. This makes me so excited, like giddy excited, to have these natural hand gestures expand. The ones that I've been using on Vision Pro for now, 2 years, like this is crazy. And if it works as easily on a set of earbuds, think of how great it would be on like a set of Apple powered glasses too. But that's another video. I know some people don't love me doing rumor videos because it's all speculation. But I promise, these videos are well researched and based on reliable sources. And my extra analysis and color is just pulling all those pieces together. And you can take that for what it's worth. But honestly, I want to know what all of you think about this. Cameras on AirPods? Vision Pro gestures? You let me know what you think of this down below in the comments. Follow to see how all this shakes out. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video.
I think that's strange.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's strange.
It's interesting, but I actually, my Christmas present to myself was a set of the AirPod Pro 3s, and I really do like them.
One thing they never seem to go over is fitting. They're constantly falling out of my ears. And one of the hooplas that they have is they don't fall out of your ears. Well, excuse me, they do. And I've tried all the different sizes of silicone inserts, and my ears reject them after about 20 minutes.
Well,
Clearly, Don, you're not alone.
What works for me is I have they ended up with the tips pointing upward, and they seem to hold in fine that way. Whether that affects anything else, I don't know.
There are third-party devices out there that you can put over the tips on your AirPods to make them fit better or to hold better.
My tips are supposed to be very good, and I used to use those on some Shure, wired earbuds. And
Can you
I've
reference
about ordering.
those in the content, please?
What's that?
Can you reference those, whatever you guys were talking about in the content, so we can go look for them?
Well, Lyman, let me say this. There are a whole bunch of different products out there. So, I mean, Jim mentioned something he used specifically, but I mean, if you go out and do a search for, products, to use on your AirPods to help them fit better, I'm not kidding when I say you might find 100 different products out there.
I thought maybe you guys had a preference.
I don't have anything that I'm using these days because mine fit great. And I've got the AirPod Pro 3s like Jim does. And I found, especially now with them giving you 5 different size fittings, like I said, that they fit great. They've never fallen out of my ears since I've had them. And by the way, if you don't have the AirPod Pro 3s, I highly recommend them. I think the noise canceling has gotten much better since the second generation. The sound is better, and the battery life is better.
I've got 3s and they fall as equally on the amongst the feet on the airplane people as did my 2s.
I started out with, the ones that are on strings, that you plug into your ears. And first one string will fall out and then it'll drag the other with it. But either way, these are Bluetooth. They're Raycons. And I decided to buy them after one of the shows that whatever they call them, where they talk about their products and business. And it's Apple show. And anyway, geeks and stuff. Anyway, I went ahead and bought these and they work beautifully. And they're guaranteed to stay in your ear. Well, they don't stay in my ear. They've hit the concrete at least 30 or 40 times. And they've been cracked open and everything else. I snap them back together and they still work. Now, the control button on one of them is trash, but the other one works just fine. So I got a phone call, I can answer it. So I'm about ready to go here again.
Don, maybe you are a candidate for over-the-ear headphones.
Well, what I'm considering is bone conduction.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I know my original AirPods, like they never stayed in my ears. It hasn't been until I went to the pros that the 2s were the first ones that just did a good job of not falling out when I was sweating and stuff like that. And the 3s I feel like are even better. But with all of our ears being slightly different, as far as size and structure, it's not going to work for everybody. But Lyman, I saw that Nathan just put a product in the chat there that he uses. Like I said, I would go out and do a little research because there are a ton of different products. And I've tried a few over the years and some work, some don't. And so I think it's kind of trial and error. Like, Don tried these, but that he heard about, but they didn't work so well for him. And so I think it's going to just be a trial and error thing to find what works for you.
Yeah.
I used the Comply. That's the name of the company, Comply, replacement earbuds on my AirPods Pro 2, and those worked very well. They kept the heads, they kept the AirPods from falling out. I've since purchased the AirPods 3, and I don't need to add anything to them. They just fit very well. And part of the reason is because the tips on the AirPods 3 are much softer, and they conform much better to your ear.
Which is the sadness
The name
of
of the company is Comply, and they make AirPod tips, AirPod replacement tips that are very good and have a very good reputation.
I'll put the URL in the chat.
I will do that for Amazon.
Yeah.
And I also
It
recommend.
may not be the right one for your headset, but it'll be close.
Yeah.
I'll put comply.com in the chat.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
The other thing I recommend that for some of these products are just they replace the tips. You take your tips off and you put theirs on. Others have little hooks in them that, instead of just being on the tip of the ear, it'll actually hook up into like the top of your ear and kind of under the fold of your ear like that to hold them in. So there are different kinds of things that you can use as well. They're not all designed the same. I know this is a number of years ago when I first had the original AirPods. I had some with some hooks that's kind of what got them to hang on. But I would try the tips first, and if those don't work, then you can go to a hooked one or other things like that. Nathan, was yours a tip or did it have a hook? You had hooks on yours? Okay.
It's a matter of trial and error.
Yeah, there are I have looked through, and like if you just go onto Amazon, you'll find a ton of different ones on there, and they're not real expensive. So I would just look at reviews and ratings for them and pick one. But I've heard of Comply before, so that might be a good starting point for you, Lyman. But like I said, there's a ton of different products out there.
They're on memory foam, so they actually, you kind of crush them down and then put them in your ear, and then they expand out and they hold quite firmly.
Okay.
Was that Comply?
COMPLY
Okay.
.co.
No, it's not comply.com. It's complyfoam.com.
Okay.
I've just put the link up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
I
thanks,
had
guys.
I
just put my trees in and they're still there.
I had a question for Charlie, if he's still there. Is he still there?
I see you, Charlie.
Charlie, I see Charlie, but he's muted and I don't.
He might have left. Well, maybe you guys can answer the question. What do you do when you've got a monitor and there's no camera or microphone? Do you have some kind of mounting mechanism and use your phone or what?
We have a set of stores here in Austin called Discount Electronics. And I went there because I am the hybrid half of our Al-Anon meetings. And I needed to be able to show the people who were online, the people who were meeting face to face in person at the church. So the first thing I did was I went out and I got a microphone that goes out into the middle of the group, and it works great. So I said, okay. So I went out and I spent $75 on a camera that clips to the top of my or the top edge as it's open of my notebook, and it shines on the people who are at the meeting, so the people who are online can see who's there. But the only problem I have is when somebody online is speaking, I have to turn my computer all the way around so the people who are in person can see
who's talking, right?
floating around in the ether, I'm considering buying an inexpensive monitor to take care of that.
Yeah, the Logitech webcams are quite good.
That's what mine is. It's a Logitech, and you can pan back and forth with it. You can go up and down. It's got a pretty wide angle of view, and sometimes there's a person sitting practically straight across next to me, and I just turn my computer a little bit, and it'll bring them in line. But it was $75, and I bring it home every time instead of leaving it there. And I'm totally happy with it. It has done a great job. It's got a microphone in it, and it also has two speakers. Of course, speakers are about this big. So, what you get out of those is what you get out of those. But the visuals, nice and clear, autofocus, the whole shooting match.
Okay. I was curious about it. I've got a 32-inch monitor with no camera and no microphone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there are a lot of third-party options for that kind of thing.
Yeah. And of course, what I bought was is going to fit on yours a whole lot better because yours is going to be a lot thicker. Mine is, this thin. And
right.
That thing just sort of sits there and you're in place, don't touch it again, kind of a deal. But it works great.
Nathan, can you tell him what you posted a picture there? What do you have?
So I have my iPhone right now on top of my monitor as a webcam, and
Yeah.
using a clip.
What did you get?
What's the name of
Nathan,
that?
what brand?
MagSafe.
I can't hear him.
What was that?
It's MagSafe, so it's magnetic. It's let me see if I can find it in my
I
orders.
have a MagSafe one as well, and I do recommend using your iPhone, and that's what I use in meetings because I have noticed a massive difference when I use my iPhone, how much better the picture and resolution looks versus using the camera in my MacBook Pro. So I just always, and it's just you can just look for MagSafe ones. It's and I can't show you, otherwise I lose my camera here, but I have my phone. It just connects onto the back magnetically, and there's a little fold out clip, and it just rests right on the lip of your, my laptop, or you could put it on whatever. And Nathan's using something similar.
Is that similar to this?
Yeah, mine's very similar. Yeah, it's almost
This is a Belkin.
Yep, that's what I have. I have
Okay, it's a Belkin. So this, you just put this in this direction. You place this on top of your monitor, and it works as a webcam. And it does have very good resolution.
Is it actually magnetic to the back of the monitor?
No, it's just your
No,
phone.
magnetic to the back of the phone.
Show
And
them
then-
the clip, Dwight.
And you see this little clip? Can you see this little clip right here?
I see there's something there, yeah.
Yeah, see, it folds in and it folds out. So that clip sits. This works on a MacBook. I don't know if it'll work on a thick monitor. You might
Right.
need to. You probably would need to get a different. I can't show you what it looks like because
A true webcam, yeah.
yeah, you might need a bigger clip than this if you're going to be using it on a thicker monitor, such as an iMac or thickness type.
Well, it has two clips there. It's got the little one that he's showing you, but also that metal one will flip down as well.
Yeah.
And you can use that as both a stand for that, or I've done it before. I put it over something thicker and I've just kind of had it hanging over it. It's not
Oh,
quite
is that right? Does that work? Okay.
It'll hang with that. Yeah. Because I always put the lip down and I put the clip out just as a little insurance to keep it, in place better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the exact same one I have. I just have mine's just black instead of white.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you can find some stuff out there. So, all right. Anybody else have anything? It's 10 after 9. So unless anybody has anything else they'd like to add, I think it's about time to wrap this up.
Good meeting. Lots of info. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we had a few other things we didn't even get to tonight.
We could keep going. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's great.
It's all right.
Good night, guys.
Things that I love about when we get together.
Say good night, Chad.
With everybody. A lot more.
All right. Thanks very much for all your help, all your input, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Drive safe.
Bye, everyone.